Hey everyone, it's Amy Stevens of AZ Weddings by Amy, the officiant here in Arizona. And I am here today with Javier Carlos. I just realized it's been almost a year that we spoke last, and it's because wedding season was absolutely insane for 23 to 24. And now here we are back in summer. And who doesn't love to just chill out a little bit, mentally regroup, reorganize, all of those fun things? Javier, how are you?
Oh, I am doing great. It's been a couple weeks, had some time off, able to rest. Now we're cooking up as the temperatures rise and I'm staying inside. So I'd say things are going great. Just as exactly echo what you just said. It was a very busy season. Seems like every year it's just getting busier, which is great. But having the summer, our winter as they call it, is awesome just because you get to regroup and we get to have conversations like this.
Yes, I'm in my hibernation season. That's how I always look at this. We're being inside, getting things done that maybe didn't get done during wedding season,
hmm
and it feels good.
Oh, for sure. And that's what I always tell our staff too, is like, it's going to be a little bit slower, but we're going to have an opportunity to identify and to correct a lot of those things that, just weren't working. And so even this week upcoming, we're calling it our warehouse organization party because we're going to be reviewing all of our inventory and improving our processes and systems that didn't work so well or could be improved upon.
Well, and that's one of the interesting things is we have this downtime to be able to kind of sit back, relax. I say relax, but we're really kind of resorting and redoing things and making things more streamlined. I want to start out here real quick and let's just tell everybody a little bit more in regards to what you do, your business. What is Sea West Entertainment?
Of course, yeah. And I think even just from a year ago when we last spoke in July, things have changed even since then. So we now kind of call ourselves an entertainment and a production company. So on the entertainment side, we've always been known for our DJ services, DJs being utilized for any sort of special occasion, whether that be a wedding, a birthday party, corporate event, or a school dance. Since we've grown, though, we also offer karaoke services, do occasional trivia nights, and MC hosting. So there's lots of different ways that we can provide entertainment to our clients. In that vein, though, and kind of understanding the growth of the entertainment business has come along with the production side of things. So as we've done larger events, we've needed more equipment and more supplies to produce a bigger event for our clients. So we've had to invest in stages, lighting, different production elements such as TVs, projectors, screens, LED video walls, also our LED dance floor. So just various aspects of our entertainment business has grown and offered or allowed us to offer new rentals and other inventory for other kinds of events. So that's kind of where we come to see our entertainment and production business. So we have lots of rentals, and I don't want to take up too much time talking about every single thing that we offer, but essentially, if it's in relation to anything audio visual, that's something that we handle now.
That's fantastic. Now, I did notice recently on one of your social media posts about dance floor rentals and then
Mhm.
even those headsets. So, do the headsets for dancing allow you to be at a venue later? Or
Mhm.
how, explain some of that, because that's a newer feature these days.
Yeah, I know we're going to have an opportunity to talk about some venues, but ones that really stand out to me that have those kind of noise ordinances where this kind of technology would be useful would be, the outdoor venues that we have in Paradise Valley, right along Camelback. It's beautiful right over there by the mountain, but some of the folks there don't want all this loud noise at night. So that'd be a kind of a venue that would want that. Additionally, up in Sedona, Arizona, it's really the demographics of the people that live there. You have to think about that as to why these rules are in place. But they don't want it to be too loud after 9, even 10 o'clock. And so a lot of couples have asked us in the past about this, and we haven't had it, and we've had no resources to offer them. But now, what's actually kind of cool, and I could talk about that in just a second, is that you can be at a venue and you can be listening to the music on the dance floor or up to other three channels of different audio sources. So, with us, we've had opportunities to DJ like three different DJs playing different kinds of music, and the headphones you could just change the channel You can listen. It's like a radio station. You just listen to the next one. You listen to the next one. You kind of hear different experiences, and it's pretty cool because it's not something that you always see, but it is growing, and we're happy to offer that now.
So people can be listening to different music?
Yes, yeah, yeah. So you could be playing. I don't know. I'll choose some different ones. On the green channel, it could be jazz, and on the red channel, it could be hip hop, and blue can be pop. So it's just a radio frequency, and so you change it, you control the volume, but it's really interesting, right? Like you think of like that knob in your radio. I don't even know if you still have this in your car, but remember when you would change the radio station, and that's all it would be. That's all it would be. It's just a different radio frequency.
Interesting. Oh, that's so cool. So if you have different generations on the dance floor or around at the event, they can be listening to their style of music instead of just the same thing being played. Oh, I had no idea
Hmm
that that was the case. That's cool.
hmm Yeah, something different, something unique. It's cool that they offer that as a part of the technology.
So I'm curious, how many DJs and are on your team these days?
Yeah, there's 14 others besides me. However, I think our capacity that we can do in one day is like about 13 DJ events. So typically with our company, since we have people that can do DJ events or they could do like something else. It just kind of depends on what the event is calling for. So sometimes we have our DJs that aren't DJing and we don't have a DJ event. Maybe they'll do the lighting or they'll do the production side or they'll help with setup. So usually right now it's about 13 DJ events. So that's kind of what we were at for the springtime. So very busy. I'm sure you've talked to you before. And you're like, I've got a wedding here in the morning, and then we're going to drive over here in the evening, and it can even be something like that where one DJ is going to do a couple different events that day.
That's incredible. You have grown quite a bit in a year. That's awesome.
Well, we've been fortunate to have things change. How have things changed for you in the past year?
Oh, it there were times, like you mentioned, about having multiple ceremonies in one day. And there was literally one day, it was a Saturday, where I started at 10:30 and well, this first ceremony was at 10:30. I actually left my
Hmm
house at 9 because it was way on the west side. And by
Mm.
the time I actually did the GPS and directions, I realized I did a complete circle and it was it was insane. So yeah,
Wow,
from the perspective of being very mobile and going around from one location to another and making sure that I was super organized, that was the biggest aha moment for me.
that's crazy. And how many miles have you put on your car? Like that's the big question I always like to know is like how many have you been tracking your mileage to see? Because man, here in Phoenix, it's just everything's 30 minutes away and it's like 50-mile trip in one direction, it seems like.
Exactly. Exactly. Depending on the time of day, traffic, that kind of thing. Traveling on weekends isn't so bad, or traveling during the week, during the day, isn't so bad either. And that's been one of the things that a lot of couples uh, this past year, it was interesting. They wanted to get married at off times, which, was great for me. To be able to travel to them easier. So off times meaning
Yeah, I
that
was just about to say, what does that mean for
yeah,
you?
yeah. So for me, what that means is getting married more around like between 11 and 2. That's not
Hmm
typical time frames during the week. So
Okay.
during the week between 11 and 2, those time frames got busier. And then also during the week in the evenings, so anytime after 4 p.m. And I had several who wanted that time frame as well. So it's been an interesting ride watching how people are thinking about their ceremony and a lot of elopements still taking place
hmm
where family, you know, may not have been invited or aren't in town or whatever the case may be because the couple just didn't want to get into all of that.
hmm Yeah, and truthfully, like I'm not in a place where I would get married soon, but being in the industry and seeing the different things, like I feel like I don't know enough people that I care about deeply to have a big wedding, like the ones that I'm able to DJ. So I know that if I ever am down that path, Amy, hey, we're getting eloped. Like, that's kind of the path I'm going down. And maybe that's just because of the generation I'm in. I think things are changing. And for a lot of the people that we DJ for their weddings, they're not Gen Z yet. Very, very small Gen Z weddings. It's mostly still millennial, um, and some Gen X. And I just think that things have changed. And I'm sure we're going to talk about that too, of just, how things have changed for us over the past season. Like, what are some of the things you've learned this
Well,
past wedding season?
I definitely see more of the Gen Z wanting to have the bigger honeymoon.
Mhm.
They
Oh
want
yeah, yeah.
they want the experience after,
Hmm.
not placing the attention on the actual ceremony. Um, One thing I've actually been hearing from several different DJs. Now
Hmm.
you tell me about this one. Millennials and Gen Z don't like to be put on stage per se. Maybe not so much millennials. I think it may be more Gen Z, where they don't like to be the center of attention,
Hmm.
and they're not doing like the grand entrance coming in and being announced by the DJ. Have you had any experiences like that?
I have, but I feel like it's not down to the age range. I think it's just been their personality type
Okay.
because I've seen people. I did two weddings this week, and they were both demographically very similar in age and in their affiliation. Like they're both very religious church people, and they both didn't like to be the center of attention. But I think that that had more to do with their personality type and what they did and who they were, and less of like their age generation. Because I've seen people like we do sweet 16s, right? We do quinceañeras, and that is literally the most current generation, and that is not the case at all. Like they are literally the center of attention. They are the life of the party. And we do school dances, and they're all Gen Z, and they're having their moment, and they're taking their pictures, and they're trying to be all like on their social media going crazy. So I don't know. And we have cameras and video stuff there, and they're going crazy for the camera. And people that aren't wanting to be the center of attention would not do that. So I don't think it's as much of the generational thing, but I do agree with the honeymoon thing because I'm currently stacking up those reward points on my credit cards because I'm like, well, one day maybe I'll have 1,000,000 points and I'll be able to spend it on something crazy like a vacation.
Well, and
So,
that's the whole topic in and of itself, like how to plan a
mhm.
wedding. Get credit cards that have phenomenal reward points because that's how you get your honeymoon.
Mm.
That conversation, and I'm not one to lead it, but I do have friends who could definitely have that whole conversation. But it's a very interesting planning and really smart way to stay on top of gaining those points for your travel experience.
Hmm. No, that's
So,
a great point. I've been doing
yeah,
that just with all of our business expenses. So business
absolutely.
expenses. So.
Absolutely. That's a huge feature from that standpoint. So from your business, what you've done in the last year, because it was a year ago that we
Mhm.
spoke, from your business standpoint, with even adding in more of this media production, can you kind of chat a little bit about some of that?
So the main thing I think to think about when it comes to that, because we're kind of talking about two different things here. We're talking about media production, and then we're also talking about audiovisual. So um, we've always utilized, video, and especially now we're going back to the generational thing. At least for me, when I was in middle school and in high school, the big thing everybody always wanted to be was like a YouTube star or be big on whatever social media was popular at the time as it's changed. And so we've always been filming ourselves, and I've always been like media ready because I'm always filming myself. And so because of that, uh, the clients and the customers want to see on social media what our services are. So when we started, and I'll talk about the media production side first because I think that's a little bit um, more relevant, especially if you're watching this. This is exactly what we're doing right now. We're recording videos of us talking about ourselves, but we needed content of our school dances and of our weddings. And I made vlogs when it was 2020, and I wasn't DJing that much, but I still wanted to show people like, hey, this is all the stuff that we do, and like get to know us a little bit, and still stay active on social media because you can post stories, you can post little pictures, but videos, those drive a lot more engagement because people are watching it for longer, hopefully. It's a good video. So that's kind of where that was birthed from. And then we realized that we've been able to do that well for ourselves. So let's be able to offer that to other clients. And one of the natural transitions for a production company is to be a full service company so that a client is able to just work with one provider, or even if you don't offer everything, you can use subcontractors that have good talent and skills. Like we have editors that we use because it helps us with our workflow to just provide that full service for one client. And then they don't have to go and manage a bunch of different vendors that they need for their event. So that's kind of how that was came to be. On the AVL side, it's always interesting for us as DJs because on the budget end, you'll get somebody that says on Facebook, I'm sure you've seen the same thing, hey, I don't want a DJ, I just want some speakers. I want to play my Spotify playlist. And that's fine. You know, Guitar Center, where you can buy a guitar or any other instrument, will rent you speakers as well because it's a vertical in the industry to do that. It's to offer speakers. And so because of that, kind of think about how that comes to be, people need this thing. There's a want for it. There's a desire. Okay, we're already DJing, or if I'm not DJing, I can use my equipment. So there we go. That's kind of how that starts to come to be. But then we realize, hey, I really like working for corporate clients. There's a lot less stress. I could deal with a bride that it's her wedding day and I completely understand, or it's a groom and it's their wedding day and they've spent a lot of money and rightfully so, they can be stressed out because there's a lot of moving parts. You want it to be perfect. But going from that, and I always tell people this, it's just funny, to a ballroom where you're just setting up speakers and a presentation, like it's like from here, stress level to down here. And anything that's going to happen in that ballroom is significantly less important than somebody's wedding. I mean, every client and every event is like the Super Bowl for us. We're going to take it seriously, but if something is not going right in a ballroom for a corporate event, there's something that we can do, or we can buy ourselves some time. We can push the timeline back pretty easily for that, as opposed to somebody's wedding and the sun is setting at a certain time and we have to get these photos now or we'll never get them. So do you kind of see how those experiences lead to the corporate AV side, and then it can be a nice break to not have to work a wedding. And all our clients are great, but there are things, their family members, planners, just little details. The pizza or the food doesn't show up. I've had that happen before, and we're like, what are we going to eat now? So, yeah. I feel like we could talk about all the things that we've ever seen, but there's just a transition that a lot of DJs will have, and it's kind of the natural one that we're going through right now.
Well, and I think that that's an important feature too about understanding the capabilities of a DJ, because being able to go from a high emotional event to like a wedding to
Hmm.
a corporate setting. It's the same thing. When I did interior design work, it was the same thing. Corporate
Oh,
clients were so easy to work with. It was like, all right, here's three options. Which one do you like? And they're all of different price points.
hmm.
All right, here's your home. And the emotion attached to your home is so higher than that of your office. So I totally understand what you're saying from that perspective. And that's what's really great about your industry, because you can do birthday parties, you can do vow renewals, you can do any kind of business situation, you can do just so many different avenues. And you mentioned prom earlier and quinceañeras, and so there's
Hmm.
so many different avenues. Now with my job, it's a little bit more my business. It's a little bit more cut and dry. I'm a wedding
Hmm.
officiant. I'll do vow renewals. I will help people write their vows. I will do coaching. Even if I'm not part of their actual wedding ceremony, I will coach them on how to write their vows. Well, good. Well, I think that you've got so many fabulous experiences that have taken place in this last wedding season. And I appreciate your time and your energy being here and
Hmm.
chatting with me about what's gone on, how your business has grown, the different aspects to what you have, and just giving people an idea of how different a DJ can be. And again, you have 14 others besides
Hmm.
yourself who are there in your business, and I think that that's phenomenal. And just giving people that experience of fun, of excitement, of coming together as a group and just sharing that.
Yeah, my pleasure. Well, thank you for having me, Amy.
Absolutely. Well, enjoy. Thank you so much for your time, and I'm
Mhm.
sure we'll talk again soon.